go. So, continuing on, we have inverse. When you think of the word inverse, what do you think of? Invert, right? So you think of opposite. So we have this new word right here. Let's read it. For inverse, it says, a statement formed when both the hypothesis and the conclusion of a conditional statement are negated. So that's a new word, right? Negated or negation. Doesn't negation or negated sound like negative? Okay, and that means opposite. Okay, so negation, negated means opposite. So I want you to notice P arrow Q, P implies Q, is now not P implies not Q. All right, so you keep the same order, but you're going to make it opposite. Okay, so the way I would show you to do this with the little hand symbols, okay, first I have P implies Q is a conditional statement. Remember, converse, like my shoes, I switch them. But for inverse, I'm going to flip them over and make them not P implies not Q. So let's do that with our hands. Hands up like you're giving 2 high fives. So conditional is regular. Converse is a switcheroo. Okay? But inverse is like this, like you're smacking somewhere. Smack. Okay? But inverse is the same order, but not. Okay? In the sense of it's opposite. All right? So let's talk about that. How are we going to make this sentence inverse? If I see a dog, then I see an animal. All I'm going to do is take see a dog and see an animal and make it opposite. So it's going to be if I don't see a dog, then I don't see an animal. Miss Marrero, sing your song for like 5 seconds.
This song is inspired by negate. No, 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 no. I can't do the shing-a-ling like I do. I can't do the boogaloo like I do. Well, they don't look horrified. They're just horrified.
That was a song
back in the day.
Yeah. That was a song from 1968. So the no means negate. Okay, so if I don't see a dog, then I don't see an animal. Is that true? So if you're at a zoo and you don't see a dog, you could see an animal though, right? So this is actually false. If you don't see a dog, you could still see an animal. For example, again, we can use elephant. All right, so does everyone understand? Converse switches, inverse is just opposite. And then we have another new one, contrapositive. Contrapositive, okay, is our other new one. And it says a statement formed when the hypothesis and the conclusion of a conditional statement are both reversed and negated, okay? So this is where you do both changes of the converse, where you switch them, and the inverse, where you negate them. So notice, instead of P arrow Q, P implies Q, now it's squiggle Q, arrow, squiggle P. Remember, that squiggle means negation. It means not, it means opposite. And there's actually a actual name for this thing. It's called a tilde. So that squiggle is really called a tilde, but if you call it a squiggle, that's fine. Okay? So we're going to have to switch them and invert them. So once again, with the little symbols, conditional statement, converse is a switch, inverse is opposite. Now contrapositive is both switch and opposite. So it's going to be not Q implies not P. Now that's kind of wrapping myself up in knots here, but I want you to try it. So hands up like you're giving 2 high fives. Okay? So remember, conditional is regular, converse is a switch, inverse is an opposite, and contrapositive is double. It's kind of be like a cool dance you're going to see at the prom, right? You're going to be like, what's up? All right? So switching them and negating them is a contrapositive. So let's do that using if I see a dog, then I see an animal. What would the contrapositive be? if I don't see an animal. So remember, the animal came to the front as opposite. So if I don't see an animal, then I don't see a dog. Does everyone see the order changed and it's opposite? If I don't see an animal, then I don't see a dog. Right? 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 Come on. So we want to answer the question, is it true? So you're opening your eyes, you don't see an animal. So is it true that if you don't see an animal, then you don't see a dog? For real. Because like if you don't see any animals, then you definitely don't see a dog. You might see like a statue of a dog, but that's not really a dog. Okay? So you get what I'm saying. If you don't see an animal, then you definitely don't see a dog. That is actually true. So the contrapositive in this case is true. Last part of the notes, we're talking about biconditional. Biconditional, you know, the prefix bi, bi, has to do with two, like a bicycle, right? So if P implies Q, P arrow Q, is true, and backwards, the converse, Q implies P, if both of those are true, both ways, then that's what's called a biconditional statement, okay? Let's finish this up real quick. So if it works both directions, you can put a double direction arrow, P arrow both ways Q. So when both the original conditional statement and its converse are true, you can write a biconditional statement. Write that down. And we're going to use this phrase, if and only if. It's so important when you do biconditionals that you use this phrase, if and only if. Okay? Biconditional. It's right here. So, when you use if and only if, it goes between P and Q. So let me show you how it's done on number 1 real quick. What you're going to do first is cross out if and cross out then. There is no if and then in a biconditional statement. So I'm going to rewrite this P and this Q, and I'm going to put if and only if between them. An angle is acute, and then I'm going to put if and only if it measures less than 90. Now, isn't that true? If it's less than 90, it's acute. If it's acute, it's less than 90. Both directions, it works. That's what makes it a biconditional statement. And then on number 2, it's the same thing. Drop the if, drop the then, rewrite the first phrase, today is Thursday. And then I'm going to put between those two statements, if and only if. And then I'm going to write the second phrase, which is, tomorrow is Friday. And once I have that written there, I realize I've got a biconditional statement. And it works both ways. Today is Thursday does mean that tomorrow is Friday, and tomorrow is Friday does mean today is Thursday. So since it works both ways, that's what we call a biconditional statement. We don't have any fancy hand signs for this one. Just remember, conditional, converse, inverse, and contrapositive do.